We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you another episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody, already in progress.
Can do.
Well, you better hurry it up. So I'm
Why
saying.
is all right. Well, that's the end of why a golf ball has 336 dimples. Did you ever count them?
I've tried. So here's what I did. First of all, I tried just holding the ball and then, with my fingertip, one, two, and then I get like the 17 or 18, and then I can't remember where I started or where I left off. So
I do
then
the same thing, but the ranger always gets on my ass about teeing off.
that might be why you're late.
I'm
So
like,
then I got the marker, and then
yeah.
just it was a big mess. So I just gave up.
You try
Yeah,
to put like a one, a two,
yeah. Then you get the double
three.
digits and then triple.
Right. It's very hard
And
to get them.
I'm using a Sharpie, and even with a fine point. You know what I mean?
Do you ever do that? Do you ever see it? Well, it's fair season, so I'm sure it's a fair where they write your name on a piece of rice or something like that. You ever seen that?
Yeah. What's that about?
I don't know. I always see that. I'm like, who wants something that you can't read? Oh, here's a piece of rice.
But
Yeah,
we're gonna
my
sell it to you. That's got to be the
right.
biggest scam. Oh, it's a little glass container, and you'll keep it forever. I don't think so. It might not make it to the car in the parking lot.
You cook it later, and then oh, damn it!
Who did the one with my name on it? It's got like your date of birth, your city you were
It's,
born in,
I've seen
the
all sorts of
Constitution. If you flip it over, it's
yes.
got the Constitution on it.
It's the Trump Bible. It's got everything on in
Yeah.
it.
Did I show you my
You
collector
didn't get
card?
one.
No, I did. I
Oh,
didn't show you these.
oh,
It's the
oh, Lord!
It's what does it
Get
say? Never surrender. It's the most famous mugshot ever.
don't get us banned from YouTube.
How's that possible? This is
Sure.
Merrick Mint, Donald Trump, 45th president, 10. So that's the
He
highest level you can get right there.
he sold it, right? I mean, you bought it through something that he profits from, right?
I think it goes to his legal defense fund,
It's not
which
big enough.
I'm not opposed to supporting.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, let's not
Anyhow,
get it here. I am vehemently opposed to
well,
supporting it.
no, I felt like it was twofold. It's a good measure on my part to support my president, and then also
Yeah.
I thought it'd be a neat collector's item for my grandkids.
Well, the card, yes, I could see being a collector's item for sure.
Well, my parents, when they passed, they had a box full of memorabilia from Truman and Eisenhower and all those, the buttons. So we don't do the
Abe,
buttons
Abe,
anymore.
Abe Lincoln.
They weren't that old. They would not have collected Abe Lincoln because my mother and father were from Vicksburg, Mississippi. They did not like Abe Lincoln.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
that
I would
story?
think so. No.
Vicksburg fell July 4th. And so under siege, those people were eating wood chips in the end.
Right.
So on July 4th, I kid you not, my grandmother, Grandma Clara, whose famous bourbon balls I still make at Christmas, she wore a black armband on
I
July
make
4th.
I make sweaty balls on Christmas. Anyhow, I
We
interrupted.
digress. All right.
Yes.
So I think we said you wanted to start off with some statistics. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm a numbers guy. I manage by numbers, much to the chagrin of a lot of people in my organization, but it's how I roll.
Your analytics, huh?
Yep.
Let's do this real quick. For the people watching from home on YouTube, you're going to be able to see this, but the people on Spotify will just will speak in pictures. So what we're looking at is this is a map of the world.
Wow.
This
Thanks,
is a
Dave.
map. This is a map of our listeners, and we've done this in the past, but we haven't done it recently. And I thought, wow, we've picked up some pretty significant listeners. And so, just to give you a count, we're in Florida, California, North Carolina, Alabama,
Bama.
Nevada, or Nevada, however you say
Why
that.
don't you say Vegas? Because that's all there is in Nevada.
Yeah, I got to be careful. Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, Connecticut. Oh, that'd be a good thing to do is try to figure out which one of the states are. I don't know what Connecticut is. Rhode Island, Virginia, Georgia, the Peach State, Tennessee, the Volunteer State, New Jersey, the Garden State, and
Ah,
Texas,
Lone Star State.
Lone Star State. Did I miss? Florida's the citrus state. California
No, it's
is
not.
the
Did they
sunshine
change?
state.
Yeah, Sunshine. I say,
California is the state with a bear on the flag. What is California? The Golden
Golden
State.
Bear? No.
I think it's the Golden State.
Well,
Golden.
we lost massive two shits, so we know what they're
What's the motto for North Carolina?
e pluribus unum. I don't know.
No, what is no.
I don't know.
Hold on. There we go.
All right.
Alexa, what is the state motto for North Carolina?
The motto of North Carolina is Esse quam videri, which is Latin for to be,
Hey,
rather than to seem.
I know what it is now.
What is
Well,
it?
at least it per the license plate, and Ohio has a beef with this. First in flight.
Yeah, okay. Alexa, is North Carolina first in flight state?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor,
There we go.
North Carolina boasts the first in flight slogan based on the Wright brothers' flight at Kitty Hawk in 1907.
Okay, fun fact. Have I told you the story about Kitty Hawk? My grandmother, my father's mother, her name was Lulie.
Hold it. Is that the one who made the bourbon balls?
No, that's
Oh.
Clara, my mother's mother.
Okay.
But my father's mother, Lulie Meyer Theus, was at Kitty Hawk when they flew.
Get out. The first time, or like they were there.
She was there to see them launch and fly. She was like 9 or something.
Oh, did she know it was there? Like her dad or something knew it was happening, so they went down there?
No, she
or-
lived there. She lived.
Oh,
She
okay.
lived in Kitty Hawk, and they had heard the story. They owned a
Right.
cycling shop. Those guys.
Yes. And
And-
from Ohio, and that's why Ohio kind of says, no, they did it here first. And then now somebody in Europe is saying, their dude flew first. So
Well, my grandmother had a podcast, and she was telling us about. But anyway, so that's the story. I never really, drilled down on it, but that's what Lulie said. We called her the Great White Owl. She was
Really?
white-haired, and she was about 6 foot. She was a big woman, and she would crochet. She could crochet up a storm, but when she got kind of in the zone crocheting, she sat in this chair, and she would breathe, and she'd go, "Hoo, hoo, hoo," and we called her the Great White Owl. Anyway, she didn't
now,
like
do you look a lot like her?
I probably take some, my complexion and my hair, but I don't know. I look
Do you
like
hoot
my
when you
father.
breathe?
Huh?
Do you hoot when you breathe?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, that's where you differ.
All right, let's get on with this. So anyway, Florida, let's bust open Florida. Palm Coast, I dare say that's Pat Kelly
Yeah. And his family, his clan.
and friends.
Yes.
Pat Kelly and friends.
Thank you, Kelly friends.
And I don't want
Kellys.
our listeners to think that we're only one-offs. Okay,
Right.
Palm Coast is a community.
And I do have family in Palm Coast.
That's right, the Palm Coast Woodies.
Yeah.
Middleburg, Florida. That's kind of the area I'm in. Jacksonville, of course, that's just due north. And Duval, Miami's a new addition. We've never really been in South Florida like that. Orlando, we've had some traction in. Fernandina Beach, I think that's our new friend, Dr. Steven. And then I don't know what it is.
Hey, have you ever heard the city Other?
No.
That'd be a great city name.
California, Sacramento, that's the capital city. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And
Maybe
McKinleyville.
maybe governor's listening.
I hope not. What's his name?
Yeah, I was bragging. Presumptive next presidential candidate,
oh,
unfortunately.
God. Don't say
Yeah.
that.
It's all
Brand,
I can picture them. Anyhow, go on.
Yeah,
We'll
all
think
right,
of it
I
later.
don't want to give any more time. We have to. North Carolina, Concord, like the grape, Concord.
Concord.
Charlotte, what's Angier?
I don't know. No clue.
Durham.
And now, Concord's where all the NASCAR drivers are, so they're big listeners.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama. Other. Don't know
Yeah.
what that is. Nevada. That's JoJo
And family.
and family. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm sorry, JoJo. Please forgive me. I'm sorry.
You almost said it.
I know. Pennsylvania, the Keystone State. Another other. Let's
That's
get
weird.
through this. This is riveting. Connecticut. We're in Berlin, not to be confused with Eastern Germany.
Now, that's a very long time listener in Berlin now.
Yeah, we appreciate you, whoever you might be. And
Right.
then that's in Connecticut. Rhode Island, apparently you could carpet the entire state. It's so small. It's Cumberland. I don't know who's in Cumberland. Somebody up there obviously loves us. And then Virginia, Harrisonburg. Okay. Georgia, Atlanta, hot Atlanta. Tennessee, the volunteer state is Smyrna. That's
I thought
probably
Georgia, but okay.
Smyrna, Tennessee. That's probably the guy we talked about the other night, the football player. Peyton. What
Oh,
do you
Peyton
think?
Manning. Okay, yeah.
Or unless he's in Louisiana.
He needs to talk a little. I mean, listen a little bit more.
New Jersey, Edison, not to be confused with Thomas. And last but not least, Tejas, the Lone Star State. So,
All right.
that was a little fun journey on our listener map. For those watching on YouTube, that was probably riveting and exciting.
Turns out other Florida is right next to somewhere.
That was good.
Come on.
No, I'm fighting back the laughter.
Hey, are you? Okay.
Yeah, not really, but no, that was good. I was
If you're listening in the car, pay attention to the road, please. Don't laugh yourself into tears.
Oh, by the way, tonight's Tuesday. Usually we go on Wednesday. But tomorrow night is my big night, the big show.
Yeah?
I have a special guest speaker tomorrow night. I can't tell you who it is because it's special. But
someone I know?
Yeah, the big doctor. The big doctor's in the house tomorrow night.
Very good.
The big PhD. Double D.
Now, I think you and your clan folks were just making. No, let me take that back. That was the wrong thing to say. I didn't mean it that way. You and your buddies.
Yeah, be careful.
We're just making fun of someone who called themselves doctor that had a PhD.
The missus?
Yes.
Yeah, but this guy pulls it off a little better. He wears a white coat.
Yes. That's more legit.
I don't think he walks around saying that he's a medical doctor.
Well, I hope not. That's against the law.
Impersonating a doctor?
I believe so, yeah.
If you play one on TV or stay at a Holiday Inn Express, does that matter?
Well, maybe. It gives you at least 24 hours.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, so tomorrow night, Wednesday, I am booked at an event where I am the El Presidente, and I've got duties that I have to perform, presidential duties. Those are usually pretty big ones. Yeah. Anyway, all right, what's going on?
Well, to share that screen, you had to go through a great deal of work to pull that off, didn't you?
Did I miss something?
No, not at all.
I think I did.
No, you did
pull that off.
I was going to do something, but then I changed my mind.
Okay,
sorry. So,
what'd you have for dinner tonight?
Chili.
Really?
Yeah, I got a kitchen pass for the next 2 days.
Mom's? She at Mom's place?
No, she's in near you in Orlando.
Really? I didn't get the call.
No, it's a big nursing conference.
That's actually nowhere near me.
It's a lot closer than it is to me.
I guess so.
How far is Orlando?
A bunch of nurses together. That's a lot of wine drinking going on.
Yeah, at the what's that big Marriott place down there?
World Center.
Yes, that's where she's at.
Nice golf course. If you like hitting cars. I've hit a few of them down there. That's not me, I swear.
I did that once at a muni course, and no, I'll tell you the story I remember. So my cousin. He's the kind of guy who can drive it 350 yards, but you have no idea where it's going, right? And we're at this muni course in Los Angeles, of all places, and he gets pissed off on this green. He missed the green, and he throws the ball up there, and he happens just to hit it with his putter. It goes sky high, and it's going right at two lowriders parked in the parking lot. And me and my brother are looking at each other like, and it goes right between. I mean, 3 inches either side, he would have dented the lowrider.
Wow!
It bounced.
You dodged a bullet, literally.
A literal bullet. Yes, that was a scary couple of seconds.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. All right. We done?
Good show.
All right. I appreciate it.
So I talked to someone kind of famous today.
Well, kind of famous. So what's that? But TV?
So I can't say their name, but the person works with a state senator. Yeah.
So that doesn't make them famous. That makes who they work. They work for someone famous.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. Anyway,
Would we
all
know
right.
her name if you said it?
No, you won't know that person's name, but you'd know the senator's name.
Right.
But that doesn't matter. All right, I'm
Wait a
kinda
second.
lost.
State senator?
No, excuse me. National Washington, but he represents a state because there's two of them.
Yes. Yeah, but state senator. I'm like, I wouldn't know who that your
Yeah,
state senators
who
are.
cares? State senator. I got a friend who's a dog catcher. All right, I don't. I've got something that's kind of heady that we did in school today about critical thinking.
All right.
I don't
Do you
know.
want to do that? I have a question about your school.
Is it appropriate?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So the kids. I don't know if anyone's listening. Let's be serious for a second. The listening audience. Well, I'm deeply concerned about the future of our nation from an educational standpoint because we are producing young folks who lack the skill of critical thinking. And so today, my class, they hear me harping on it all the time. They finally came to me and said, Mr. Theus, what exactly is it? I mean, you always talk about it. Do you even know what it means, Mr. Theus? And so I elaborated, and I did. And I said, you know what? I'm going to look it up, and I'm going to find out what someone else says so you can hear it from someone else. But this is from critical thinking definition, and it's from Louisville University, and they have a program for critical thinking.
The Cardinals, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought this. Let's see. Okay, so after a careful review of mountainous body of literature defining critical thinking and its elements, U of L, University of Louisville, has chosen to adopt the language of Michael Scriven and Richard Paul, 2003, as a comprehensive, concise operating definition. Critical thinking is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to belief and action. And then that sounds like a lot of gobbledygook, but the thing
I lost you after the third word.
I know, but I really wanted to push through to the kids was this critical thinking is, first of all, intellectually disciplined process. So intellectually, we're going to use our brains, we're going to use our minds, and we're going to use our trained brains and minds because they're disciplined. And it's going to be a process of actively and skillfully. So we're going to be involved in this process. But the key thing was this information that we're going to conceptualize, apply, analyze, and synthesize and evaluate, we're going to gather it. So we're going to go out and find it. Remember, we're hunters and gatherers. So we're going to go out and get it and bring it back. And what the kids today are doing is they sit there on their chair and they go, please tell me the answer. They won't initiate the act of gathering at any moment in time. They're just
so they'll have to winkle to get the answer.
Well, the thing that scares me is society is going to understand this in short order. It's already happening. And because they're conditioned, I don't know how it's happening quite yet. I'm sure there's some parental involvement in this. But because of the conditioning, then you're going to have a societal shift where the society says, this is what you should do. And they're going to go, okay, because I'm not going to be able to use my intellectually disciplined mind to put together an actively, skillfully process around conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, and synthesizing the data. So therefore, I'm not going to be able to make up my own mind. And so we're going to have a lot of people being spoon-fed information. They're just going to go, okay, that sounds good to me.
But where's the line between getting enough of that information inputted that you can do critical thinking?
Well, part of the critical thinking would be to your point, would be to absorb what someone's telling you. But in that moment, as soon as you absorb that information, then there's no comparison. This is the lesson plan that we're working through. So I demonstrated.
I thought you taught computers.
Well, we do, but we have to bring it all back to the software that I'm using. So this particular class is business applications like Word documents and spreadsheets. And so in order to make a comparison, you need more than one. And so they are operating under the functionality that their quote unquote comparison is what you tell me, what shows up first in the Google search. I'm not going to go any further. I'm not going to use my intellectual disciplined mind to actively, skillfully conceptualize, apply, and analyze different pieces of information so I can make the decision. And it's scaring the heck out of me.
Well, I wouldn't say that's limited to the generation you're teaching.
It's not.
It's everywhere right now.
Yeah. My wife hears about it. Well, she sees it firsthand at work where she asks her people to do something and they're like, nah, I don't know how to do that.
Well, maybe I'm making it too broad, but I think that's what's going on with the media companies, right? They only give you their definition.
Well, the media is only giving us what they're giving us, but then who's giving it to the media? The media used to be critical thinkers.
Yeah, they're not nowadays. But no, because now it's about getting an audience and keeping an audience. So once they figure out the audience they want,
they just
then they give that information to that audience.
Yeah, both sides.
Oh yeah, I'm not blaming. I'm not just singularly pointing out one over the other.
It scares me. And I don't know how to unpack it other than to keep talking about it and keep demonstrating to them that you've got to be able to make evaluations. You've got to be able to gather information and gather data and then analyze it and evaluate it. Otherwise, we're going to settle for substandard solutions, and you're going to be at the risk of being manipulated by someone who just gives you the first answer that comes down the pipe. You're just going to, gobble it up.
Well, why don't they teach critical thinking?
That is a good question. Yeah. I mean, I am, but I don't know.
It's not part of your curriculum. It's just what
I do it every day, though.
You bring it's a mantra you.
Oh yeah, this is heavy in my day-to-day activity.
Oh.
I tell them every day, look, I don't say I don't care if you don't learn my stuff. That's not true. I say, but if there's nothing else you learn from my class but critical thinking, then you're already ahead of your peers.
Well, that's why I believe in teaching via the Socratic method.
Sure.
Right. If someone asks me a question, I ask them a question back.
Well, yours has delves on the side of smart alecky.
It does at times, but in true learning situations, I ask the question back.
So I got a text from my brother today. It was very poignant in timing. He sent me this meme. I gotta find it real quick, and it's a picture of Socrates, but it's a knockoff, and so it's got the statue of.
Your phone never can show because the green
it's got
screen
a statue,
thing.
The Greek statue of, I guess.
Yeah.
And it said, the meme says, good enough. And it's accredited to mediocrities.
Oh.
And it really is what's going on. That's good enough.
Yeah, they got you've been to the mountains of North Carolina, right?
Oh yeah, the mountains.
And you wouldn't know it based on the YouTube thing you watch, but when you go up there, and I kind of get it in Tennessee a little bit as well, is when you have someone come in and do repairs on your house or something of those, like there was a saying up in, it was basically that up in, good enough. That's how they built in the mountains forever, It was just, whatever.
Well, we say it's good enough for government, right?
Yeah, because I guess, you know what, it's kind of odd because the government has and had very strict standards. So
there's always low bid though.
Yes, but the qualifications to get paid were quite high. And Well, and maybe that applies more like in the military, military contracts. Maybe that's
Well, we hope they're building spaceships that way. When NASA was going up off the launch pad, those guys, I know my dad took his work serious about it. I mean, it
right.
was, I don't know. Yeah. So today we talked about critical thinking, and, sometimes we're not all just fart jokes and silliness here on the We Can Help with Dave and Woody. 99% of the time we
Yeah,
are.
most of the time. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
be real.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, who wants to keep talking about this stuff? But if you're listening out there and you find this to be interesting, or you're genuinely concerned about our future as a nation and a planet,
Oh,
and how that might be a problem, if you have any answers on how we could fix it, that'd be great. I think the parents need to get off their backside. I used to tell my investment customers, this is a participatory sport. I don't want you coming into my office and go, Dave, here's my investment, here's my money. You just do it all. No, no, no. I can't legally do that anyway. Under
I was going to
the
say, I hope you weren't telling them what to do.
you could get a signature from someone, and that's called. I should know what that's called since I'm a series licensed person. But it basically what they're saying is I give you rights to trade within my account without my permission.
Yeah, I have a portion of my account is set up that way.
Well, because you're a billionaire. It's in a trust probably. But so I don't do that. And so I would tell my clients, I'm going to help you, but you're going to be a part of this. And it's a participatory sport because I might not be here next week. You better know how to do it.
Yeah, speaking of educating, and you reminded me that we had a comment last week from one of our diligent listeners. Just say SJL, the doctor.
Yeah.
Replied back when I had a question. Well, you had a question about stars and such. And he says, so I can read this. Our sun is a star that is billions of times closer than any other star, Dave. Any other star. So that is the closest star.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Obviously, that's why it's so big.
Right. And most stars, including our own, is made up of mostly hydrogen and helium nuclei and the light given off by those nuclear reactions. Now, that I didn't know. That was interesting. It's actually nuclear reactions emitting light.
Well, and the helium makes sense. That's why it's floating.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it'd come crashing down.
Like a balloon, right?
Yes, that's right. It just hangs up there. It's one of those Mylar balloons, never runs out of juice.
It's interesting because usually those things, when they get hot, they start to fall. Or is it the other way around? When they get cold?
I think cold. I don't know. What do we ask the listeners?
We're not rocket scientists. I mean, come on.
Any variation in the star color is based on concentrations of other trace elements, not helium or hydrogen, in the surrounding cloud around the outside or corona of the star. So there you go. That's why stars have different colors.
Well, and I was thinking it was reflective off the surface of the Earth. Like if you were seeing it from the sun, from the ocean, then it would have a blue tint, but it's really the gases that it's burning off and it's nuclear reactions.
Very cool.
We got some pretty sharp listeners out there.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Yeah. They're way up here.
Well, I replied back, thanks for helping Dave understand the universe better and for listening.
Well, I was going to reply. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I just abbreviated it for our listeners.
Yeah.
Hello.
I got to dumb it down for our people. Helium and hydrogen.
But the question I had about school for you is you sent a picture. Well, it's school related, I should say.
Okay.
You sent a picture from the fair of your piggy.
Yeah.
Of his snout sticking out the cage there.
Yeah, I couldn't get any closer, really.
Were you sad to say goodbye? Because he's off to the slaughterhouse, correct?
He's probably at somebody's table this morning.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this isn't my first fair, rodeo. But I think you could see it in his eyes. I think when you looked at him, he was like, "Yeah, I know how this ends. Thanks, thanks for being there.
Yeah, not bringing
all the
any
fun, all the big games we played together.
No Milky Ways or anything else, man. You stuck to my diet.
Yeah, and then you're gonna, whack it. Yeah. So no, I think the kids. I know my grandkids, 2 grandkids that show, they get somewhat attached. I got to tell you though, when you watch the steer show, There's little girls that are like 5 foot nothing that maybe 90 pounds, right? These
Mhm.
girls, they're kids. They're just like
The steer show means you're just showing the steer, right? There's no like they're not riding them or anything.
no, it's just a
Okay.
show. It's like a pig show, but these are steer,
Well,
and
you
they
go to a
have
dolphin show, they make big jumps out of the water and stuff, so I didn't know. Yeah.
yeah, the steers don't really jump like
They don't
that.
do
They
anything.
don't
They don't
swim.
do anything
But anyway,
special.
so they have these bridles on, right? Like a horse. And so
Yeah.
the kid's got a rope that's attached to the bridle, and they got this funny little back scratcher thing that they rub their. It's got like a prong on the bottom of it. It's a long fiberglass. I don't know what they call that thing. It's probably a steer tender, but it's just like a little back scratcher. You know how you have those
Right.
things and you feel, ooh, that feels good. Well, the steer
Right.
enjoys that as well. And so it kind of keeps them calm and docile. But these things, they start off with them as calves. They're like puppies. You know, I don't know if you've ever been around cattle before, but calves are like, golden
Yeah.
retrievers.
Right.
And as they get bigger, they spend a lot of time with them. So I think they get attached to the steer.
I would think so.
Yeah. And I think the steer probably has a higher brain capacity than a pig. I don't know.
Nah, I bet you pigs are smarter.
Well, that's interesting. Hold on.
Ask Alexa. What's
Alexa, how do I ask?
that's why I was going to
The
stop you.
Republic of Armenia
No,
is a land
Alexa,
in
stop.
the Armenian.
Alexa, stop. Listen about Armenia. Wow.
To ask who's smarter, a pig or a cow.
Alexa, who is smarter, a pig or a cow?
From Answers.com. One opinion is that pigs are much smarter than cows are.
Say,
Okay, so
I'm the pig
Alexa,
and you're the cow
hold
in
on.
this situation.
Alexa, who's more lovable, a pig or a cow?
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Yeah, who's gonna put that one up on? You need to start contributing.
Well, I mean, to say you're smarter, like apparently pigs don't have pores, so they roll around in the mud, and that gives them a skin protection. And the cow's probably like, yeah, I'm not doing that. That makes no sense. But I don't know. A Sigma pig that we had showed some affection in a legal way. Nothing happened inappropriately, not that I know of.
I,
She
you
did
know,
like the acorn, so. But the steer. Oh, getting back to this, so we can wrap this up. There's just something amazing about these kids that have no fear, and they've got this literally
I know.
1,400-pound animal. It's the size of a Volkswagen.
Did they
who
put
could-
anything on the horns to protect everyone from
No,
them?
these don't. These didn't have horns.
Okay.
So a steer is a bull who's been castrated. I think I should
think
know
it's
that. Alexa, what is the definition of a steer?
As a noun, steer can have a couple meanings. 1. A suggestion about a course of action, tip. 2. Stir, to move one's hand or an implement continuously or repeatedly through a liquid or other substance in
Get
order
to the
to
point,
cool, mix,
Alexa.
agitate, dissolve, etc., any or all of the component parts.
Did she say stir?
What's the difference between a steer and a bull?
Alexa, how does one make a steer out of a bull?
From fandom.com. It is made by adding bowl of water to bowl of plaster.
This is why you should not be asking Alexa questions.
Alexa, what is the difference between a bull and a steer?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, bulls are male bovines that are capable of mating and reproduction as their testicles have not been removed.
Ooh, you
A
got
steer,
Alexa say
still a male
testicles.
bovine, is a bull that has been castrated. Bovine castration is done most commonly long before sexual maturity when the bull is a young calf.
That's bull. That's bull.
I thought you did that on purpose.
So a steer is a bull who's been castrated.
Yeah, and you got Alexa say testicles.
Yeah, but no, she felt sensitive about it. She didn't say it in the second part. So what they do is they use these big rubber bands. I had to do it one time
until they fall off, right?
Yeah, it's kind of barbaric in a sense. I mean, if you think about yourself and you're saying,
wasn't that something in the Egyptian days as well?
To make steers?
No, to make what was the
eunuchs?
Eunuchs, yeah.
I don't fully understand that. I think we're going off on we don't want to go on to. But
Well, if
anyway,
one of our listeners could let us educate us
on
on that,
eunuchs, Doctor Steve,
I'll be sure to read your name on the.
eunuch, translated from a eunuch. Anyway, so I'm really impressed. The pig show is amazing as it is, but the steer they're so beautiful. These animals, there's and you know, for someone who's not for someone who's we saw a comment. You know, I had that Clay Eats thing, and
Right.
people were posting pictures of the fair, of the food they
Right.
were eating, and someone said, "Oh, what? No vegan?" They posted in there no vegan options. I'm like, it's the fair. You know, I guess it's the agricultural fair, so you could make something out of cauliflower and broccoli,
I
but
guess.
but
Yeah,
there's
it's
pigs and steer at
well
the
that,
fair.
and if you want to make money, at the
The
fair.
vegan people, I'm sorry. Between the vegans and what's the one you get when you eat the wheat bread, the thing with the wheat,
Oh, gluten.
gluten. I can't tell you how many people go, "Oh, you got any gluten-free options?"
They're just asking.
I don't know. I know. I mean,
They're
I
not
guess
demanding. How about the pescatarians?
pescatarians.
Not Presbyterians, the
Oh,
pescatarian.
pescatarians. Nice
Yeah,
one. Did you slip
yeah.
that one in?
Oh, but I did slip in the word of the week,
I
and you
missed
missed
it.
it. Yeah, yeah.
What was
So
it?
you missed it. So are you familiar with the word winkle?
Winkle.
Yeah. Now I got to look it up.
It rhymes with
Yeah,
winkle.
I know. I had a gym teacher in elementary school. His name was Mr. Winkle. Bet you can guess what we called him. Mr. Tinkle.
Tinkle. Hey, psst, Mr. Tinkle.
Getting water. It's a definition of winkle is to extract or obtain something with difficulty. So when you were talking about your critical thinking, I said you'll need to tell the kids you'll have to winkle to get the answer.
Mm, I missed it.
Yep.
I think when I'm in the midst of a story I'm passionate about, and I just turn everybody else off, I'm very rude at that point.
Well, that's why I hesitated early on when you caught me. I was going to try and slide it in at that time, but I decided I was going to have to shoehorn it too much. It was going to be too obvious. So I bided my time.
Ooh,
Yes.
nicely done.
Thank you.
Well, anyway, so that's the steer show. I'm really impressed. I really don't want to wax on. I do want to, but to wax on about it. I wish you could. Have you been to one? Have you been to a steer show to watch these kids
No,
live?
but speaking of Palm Coast, they used to have cowboy days or something like that
Yeah.
out there. And we would go watch that rodeo.
I would encourage you, if there's a fair coming around wherever our listeners are, to go check out the pig, the swine. I got corrected by a lady.
Oof.
I said, "So when the pig's coming out?" She goes, "You mean swine?" I'm like, "No,
No,
pigs."
pigs. Definitely pigs. I don't know where swine is.
Yeah, so I knew the difference, but she was obviously a family member who was showing the swine, and she took offense. So anyway, the swine and steer show. I think it's educational. Those kids do it right. That's American, man. We need more of that stuff. I'm sorry, but we need more county fairs. They open with an invocation of prayer. They say the pledge. They sing the national anthem. They say the pledge. There's hands on hearts. People standing up proud. Their hats are off. I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for that. We need that kind of America back. But anyway, it's another story.
Sounding old, Dave.
I am old, and it's
I know.
becoming more apparent every day. But that's okay. All right.
Well, I was just like, oh, I these two things kind of tie into each other. So we talked about our listeners at the beginning of the show, and I've have you noticed, do you pay attention to other titles on like YouTube and stuff? Everything's this is the best, this is the grossest, the funniest, try not to laugh, all that stuff in their titles. Why aren't we doing that?
I've done that. I don't know. It's kind of like I've watched a lot of these programs. These guys are so-called experts on podcasting and how to do that stuff.
Right.
And it's like there's an element of shock value involved that you got to kind of shock people into paying attention. And that's probably true. I have found success with naming our program on the podcast side, on the audio side, and then I add a little something to it in the tease. But I don't know. I mean,
So
I
should we
guess
say the most outrageous show ever and see if it or try not to laugh or first one to laugh, start over or grossest ever, throwing those things in there?
I can't
Or
believe the size of the booger. I don't know.
that might work. Watch
You know
Dave's
that's
Booger.
called, don't you? And we have a guy who got in trouble for that apparently. It's called puffery. And puffery is a term they use in real estate.
Oh, real estate.
And
I
it's
know
been
it from
around.
another industry.
Well, no, that's fluffery.
Oh,
Puffery is a known commodity in the real estate market. It's where, like, you say, oh, this house is a gingerbread house.
right.
Is it really a gingerbread house? No, but it constitutes a cuteness and a quaintness about it that makes it pay attention. And someone who's been in real estate business all of his life would know about puffery. And so now he's on trial for it, apparently. But anyway, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Just get him out of the picture.
So
Can't stand
I think that's called puffery. And so there's some truth to it, but it's on the edge of grandiose.
lying.
I don't know. Does it work?
Apparently it does because you see it in advertising all the time. But so I thought we could run a contest. If we get X amount of subscribers, we'll make you change your background because I, for one, am tired of looking at it.
Oh, so you think it's the background's the problem?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Look at mine. It's full of flair.
Out of focus.
Well,
I noticed
don't-
that one picture is much straighter.
Yeah, well, last week was picture straightening night, my friend. So that's why.
Were
Now,
there any of that were ridiculous? Look at my shelves are straight. Everything is.
are you sure they're straight? Or
Yeah,
are
I
you
ran
just
a I ran a
assuming-
square. You know what I was thinking? Instead of what would be the ultimate is the laser. You have one of those lasers that goes around in circles.
Oh, yeah. Where yes. I think people use it for like hanging when they do with the curtain rods and stuff like
Well, they
that.
do it
And
all
ceiling joists and
All
stuff.
kinds of stuff. That's a great tool. I use it to shave with.
Do you?
Yeah, I just set it up and
What did I see the other day? Oh, it's amazing. Ever seen a laser do rust removal on steel?
yeah.
That's incredible.
Well, it's scary though, because I mean, if it does that, if you stick your
Well,
hand in there,
yes, I would think, you don't see people, you don't hear about people hurting themselves do that. So,
like because they watch Star Wars and they realize that they don't want to put their hand in front of the lightsaber.
mm.
Oh,
I was hoping to change my background, but I can't seem to do it when we're in the midst of a meeting. That's why I'm looking
You
in
can.
circles here.
You can. It's over on the video tab. There's a little button on it that says stop video, the arrow that points up on the bottom left hand corner.
Oh, stop. Oh, but I don't want to stop video.
No, it won't
do
stop
I?
the video. You just it's a
Oh,
pull
I
down.
see. And I can choose a virtual background, like I've chosen this in the past. Right?
Now we're gonna have subtitles.
I don't even know why that's on there.
I don't know
But,
what that is.
I thought
We're
you
gonna
did-
do this.
And then there's different. The ones I like are
I'm not sure. Yeah,
there's your
in honor of the fair.
right. You're gonna say you're gonna send me to the slaughterhouse, Mr. Theus. So if you're watching YouTube, you'd get it puts pig ears and a pig nose on me.
I do have a clarification of something that I remembered.
Oh, that's right. We did say there would be a little housekeeping tonight.
Housekeeping.
All right, now you can say.
Yeah. Okay. So the James E. Straight shows, and I forgot to
Oh.
look it up. Let's see. I don't think what's her face would know. Hold on. Alexa, who or what is the James E. Strait Show?
From Wikipedia.org. The show features celebrity interviews, personalized segments, and group discussion on pop culture and current events.
That sounds like the gypsies I would drive by.
So the Strait family, I think
You
it
were
was
supposed to do homework.
yeah, I know, but I suck. I think it was pre-internet.
Well, what's the
Look,
name of the circus?
it's James Strait. So James E. Strait, I think is what it was. STR, I think it was STRATE too.
Well, oh, all right.
Here it is, James E. Strait shows, Carnival Midway. They're still around.
Really?
Has been a #1 for fun for more than 90 years, based in Orlando, Florida. James E. Strait shows. How about that?
Oh.
Here's one. It says, "Is James E. Strait still in business?" Straits in 1959. His only son, E. James, took over as president and manager of the James E. Strait shows. Today, nearly 50 years later, he is still on the road, actively running the Straits show operation with the assistance of his wife, Phyllis, and their 5 adult children and 12 grandchildren. Wow.
Is it straight as an STRAIT?
STRATES.
Oh, that's why I couldn't find
And
it.
so they are an amusement family. Where they come into town and they put up the Carnival Midway. Yeah, look at there. There's the old logo that I remember. James E. Strait shows.
So who's doing the rides at your fair?
I don't know who did that. It is a name like this, but it's not. That's who.
One time we were in Myrtle Beach for spring break with my family, young kids. And we were driving down the main highway, and there was a huge tent in where used to be a mall. Yeah, they had raised the mall, and it was just a parking lot. So we drove over to it. It was a circus. So we took the kids, and actually ended up being a pretty decent show for, you had to turn a blind eye to, the workers to some extent. But we saw like the death wheel where they put the motorcycles inside the globe and they race around going upside down and, through each other and everything. It was very entertaining. Kids had a good time.
So the Clay County Midway was Degler's, DEGGELLER, Degler Attractions Inc., America's Spectacular Midway. Degler. I know nothing about them. But James E. Strait, that was pretty cool that you said it. And I knew they were headquartered in Taft, TAFT, which I think is unincorporated Orange County.
Yeah, it was out in the middle of nowhere, and I don't even remember why I would go by there. Maybe I was taking back roads to cut across to Disney.
Well, it's now very much incorporated. It's just on the south end of Orange Avenue, south of the Beeline. But I remember it well. It was Taft was kind of a seedy little part of the town.
Well, and when you drove by the place where the circus workers lived, it was very seedy. And what was weird was it was this huge compound surrounded by a chain link fence.
Yeah.
And all their campers and stuff were on one side against the fence, but I guess that's where the shade was, like the tree line. And so they parked over there, and you could just tell you driving down the road, you're like, oh boy, what's going on there?
Well, they look
a homeless encampment.
They look kind of professional here with at least the graphics. That's funny. What a great memory. Thanks for kind of bringing that up and making it. I called my brother and said, because he went to school, my sister, my oldest, and my brother. It says founded in 1923 in Orlando, Florida. That's pretty cool. James E. Jimmy Strait is the president. Number of employees 400. Wow. It's a neat story, because people they're family businesses.
I can't say I've ever been to a James E. Strait circus.
Well, I mean, that's what as kids, that's who did our fair.
And I'm surprised there's even a circus around anymore.
Well, it's not a circus. It's a midway.
Yeah, okay. A little different.
Circus is a whole different thing with animals and all kind of stuff.
You can't do that anymore. That's what put Ringling Brothers out. out of business.
Well, you can't do circus because you're making the elephants do tricks and stuff.
Yeah.
Is it PETA who got involved in that?
Yeah, it's pretty much who
PETA.
put the ictionary on any kind of an
They'd ruin
animal
a,
fun.
they'd ruin a good dream.
Yeah. Ruin a good dream.
There's another way of saying that, but I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. This is a family show there, Davo.
The
All
kids
right,
in the back, stay in the back.
That's right. Kids in the back of the hall. Kids in
So
the back of the room.
We didn't get to talk about it a couple weeks ago, and you missed what I was saying, but tonight would be a good night. We got about 10 minutes left.
Okay, what do you got?
So there's one of these advertising things people say is it's responsibly raised beef.
Yeah.
What could possibly be the difference, and how do you measure that?
Well, I guess the question
between the beef at the fair and the beef at the slaughterhouse,
so in today's world, raising cattle, for example, is a multifaceted deal. And so in the old days, I would say, let me just hold on. Let me start over. So the multifaceted part is not only do you have the livestock, but you have the land and the water and the soil. And so we're really concerned in today's world, water consumption. Some of the folks out there are worried about gas and carbon emissions or carbon footprint.
Well, the ethane emissions of cows.
The farts. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
The cow farts.
It's much funnier that way.
Well, I always think it's hilarious that cows eat plants, right?
Grass. Yeah, they're vegans.
They're vegetarian. They're not meat eaters. They're vegetarians. So are we. We eat plants and we fart. Are we supposed to eliminate us too?
Yeah, but
I don't know. Anyway, so
it's
responsible raising of the animals. It takes care of a couple things. So it's a responsible use of the land, responsible use of the water. What do you do with the effluents? In dairy farms, the cattle are raised on a concrete pad, so you have this giant pile of poop that the barn's empty. What do you do with that? Do you pump it into the water supply? That's what they used to do.
Now they put it in a pond and let it settle, and then some guy makes flower pots out of it. You ever seen that? That guy had dirty jobs one time.
I thought it was bases, like at the baseball park. They make first, second, and third base out of it.
What?
Mud pies.
Oh.
But so then there's the animal husbandry piece that you're gonna raise the animal properly. I just love saying animal husbandry.
It's just so wrong.
I know, but it's an old time thing, and most people don't. Okay, I gotta ask her this.
Do you put a ring on it?
I mean, if you love it, you got to put a ring on it, right?
That's right.
It's the hoof.
Just ask Beyonce.
Alexa, what is the definition of animal husbandry?
Animal husbandry is usually defined as the science of breeding, feeding, and tending domestic animals, especially farm animals.
I thought she
said usually. She said usually defined. Well, I ask her what the other definition of.
So that could be part. What was the slogan? Let's see if there's a definition for it.
Responsibly raised beef.
Alexa, define responsibly raised beef. Alexa,
I just think it's a marketing gimmick.
Responsibly raised beef.
From priceofmeat.com. Responsibly sourced, the beef comes from pasture-raised Angus without antibiotics or hormones.
Okay, so there's the animal piece of it. There's treating the animal responsibly.
I'm guessing it's fluffery by the meat industry.
Puffery.
What'd I say?
It's puffery.
Back to the animal husbandry.
That's a dirty job when we gotta go to do the fluffery on especially the steer. They're like, "What are you doing? I don't feel nothing."
You gotta go find you a bull, would you?
Yeah, I don't know if that would be a safe job.
But
hey, Bob, you're gonna have to fluff up the bulls out there. Okay.
Just make sure you don't approach from the back.
we were suddenly taking a left turn.
Well, I just think it's just one of those gamesmanship by the industry response to, oh, well, I'm okay eating this meat versus, company
it's
X's.
responsible.
Right. I mean, someone
What would
had to
be
be
the
doing
opposite
something
of
right.
that? Lack of
Irresponsibly
care.
raised. They put that on your slogan. Irresponsibly raised beef.
That's what they feed prisoners, isn't it? Wasn't it the grades of beef? Isn't tuberculosis one of them? I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I'm serious. Like a prison grade. Alexa, what are the grades of beef?
Oh shit.
According to an Alexa Answers contributor,
That I
there are
translated.
8 beef quality grades.
You want to
They
go
are
through all 8?
prime, choice, select, standard, commercial, utility, cutter, and canner.
Cutter and canner.
Yeah.
Well, they must can beef. That's
I assume that, like, what are we
goes in a
talking about?
can.
Spam?
What's cutter? I wonder. I thought one of them was prison grade.
That's the young ladies who don't have a great sense of themselves.
who are not responsibly raised.
They're called cutters.
Alexa, what is the definition of prison grade beef?
From theperfectsteak.com.au. The beef of this grade has very low volume of fat content and low volume of tenderness.
Okay, so it's not good.
Hey.
Hold on, one last question. Alexa, is there a grade of beef called tuberculosis?
From waghuman.com. It is treated as the highest grade of beef.
Tuberculosis?
No, she said wagyu, whatever that word is.
That's Japanese or whatever.
Well, anyhow, we need to start wrapping this up because it's a cup counting and classification night here in the Woody household. And it takes a lot of brain power.
Cup counting?
Yeah.
Is this fine china cup and saucer or a coffee
This is
cup?
any cup in the house.
What constitute a cup?
Drinking vessel.
A drinking vessel with a handle?
Some do, yeah. I mean, that might fall on more of them. Well, that's what I'm saying. Something we drink out of.
Alexa, what is the definition of a cup?
Listen, I don't need Alexa telling me.
As a noun, cup can have a few meanings.
Yeah,
1.
Dave.
A small, open container made of china, glass, metal, etc., usually having a handle and used chiefly as a receptacle from which to drink tea, soup,
Hello, Dave.
etc. 2.
Oh, no, soup doesn't count.
Part of a goblet or the like.
Alexa, stop. So she said usually containing a handle, but I see.
I don't need Alexa telling me what to classify as a cup in my own household, Dave.
That's all right, so drinking utensils, you're going to count them and classify them. So you're going to classify them. This is a coffee cup, for example.
Well, no, more in the sense that this is for like a pint glass, a coffee vessel, water vessels. This is the fine wine vessel, bourbon, highball, that kind of thing.
Single rock, double rock.
Right. And then we try to make sure we don't have too much of because sometimes you start collecting cups, right?
Right.
For some reason, that's a common tchotchke given out by vendors.
So you have to purge.
Yes. And sometimes those decisions are hard, Dave, because you might have some sentimental value tied into a certain cup.
You could get it attached to a cup.
Yeah. My mom famously hung on to everything, I think. And she's at that age now where she feels she has to give it all back to us.
So when you go upstairs, she's like,
yes,
your name on it.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a coffee cup with my name on it from like when I was 5. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I said, I'm just going to throw it away. Just throw it away. No, I'm not going to throw it away. I'm like, fine.
Can I give you a trick for that?
Yeah.
So after my parents both died, graveyard dead, my sister was trying to salvage. My sister was a Klingon. She couldn't let him go. And so what I did is I went back to my mother and my childhood home, and we had a large bookshelf that I remember helping my dad build. So I was attached to it emotionally. And there were a lot of artifacts. My parents and my mom especially collected a lot of tchotchkes, as you said,
and a lot of
bric-a-brac, yeah,
bric-a-brac,
whatever. And so there was no riprap. Anyway, so no, it totally messed me up. So there'd be some sentimental value object on the shelf, and it would flood over me with emotion. And so what I trained myself to do was to hold this artifact in my hand. I can't demonstrate that, but I would pick it up and I would.
Hey, don't hold that on camera, Dave.
I'll hold. I would hold it with both hands because and I would study it. I would gaze upon it, and I would look at the whole thing, and I would reflect on the memory that just washed over me, what this thing represented, and I would just for a moment, and I would say to myself, "Okay, I've had the memory, I've experienced it, I can let it go," and I would place it back on the shelf. And in that moment, I was free. I was free from it, and I was able to move on. And one or two things I would say, I'm not ready to let go of it. And I would say, this is the artifact I'm taking with me.
So
And
you and your sister are still cleaning out the house some 8 years later, based on that philosophy.
no, she
You
hung
spent
on.
about 15 minutes an object.
She hoarded a lot of the stuff. She has a whole room in the house, like a museum at her house,
Okay. And where does she live? Which area of the country?
a block from my childhood home. Right
Are
down
you
the street.
serious?
She has an annex, a breezeway that connects the two. No, she's literally one street down.
Really?
Yeah,
And she's retired as well?
she is.
Okay. Good for her.
Yeah. But that's my tip.
All right. Just a tip, though, right? Not going to go into the whole thing.
What's a joke,
What?
What did the what did the leper say to the prostitute?
Jess. I, I always watch.
Keep the tip.
Oh, keep it.
That's terrible. I think we
That's
got
what.
to end the show somewhere.
Yeah, go ahead and end the show. I won't tell you the one I heard the other night.
No, don't. We'll save it for another time. We can't
All
use them all up at once. All right. I'm Dave.
I'm Woody.
And we ended on a swell note. You're listening to, I think, a fairly, again, titillating episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody. And once again, folks, if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, push the like button, and say something witty. Drop us a note, something
Yeah,
that
let us know what you like.
Yeah, or if you didn't like anything, that's fine
Let
too.
me know that too.
Yeah, and if you're listening, if you take us on the audio version, you can listen to us on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. But damn it, just listen and don't blow through the ads. You got to listen to those, otherwise we can't get paid. I have to educate these people over and over again.
So frustrating.
Did I say who we were?
Yeah.
All right. Good night, Gracie. Oh, okay. Bye.
What?